Hey!
Hey, Internet.
This might sound a little weird. Matt and I are together, Internet.
We're in the same place. We're taking on missions. Oh yeah, so I just took on a mission here to land a jet engine on Minmus and try to test it.
Sweet. Oh, so we're going back to Minmus.
We're going back to Minmus.
Awesome. Look at this.
Yeah, so I have to build this monstrosity because I took on a lot of contracts to test things.
So we're on a couch together.
We're sitting on a couch together. We're watching this on my laptop.
In South Carolina. The weather's beautiful.
Well, it was beautiful. It's like 40 degrees now.
I mean, it's
better than it was down here.
It's better than where we came from.
So I have to build this thing with a decoupler and a jet engine on top of it because those are the two things they want tested on Minmus for some reason.
Okay.
So I got to do this test to make that Skrilla. And then I'm going to build a super cheap launch vehicle that's made entirely out of solid rocket boosters so that it only costs, this entire vehicle is only going to cost about 10,000 spaceos. Do
the Kerbals ever send animals out into space?
I don't know if they have animals.
Oh god.
I don't know what they eat.
Don't birds tweet when we are like...
There's birds. There's invisible birds.
Okay.
That you've never seen.
I think someone might be interested on how those would react in space.
Probably, yeah. They'll have to build a pigeon station.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna send, yeah.
Oh, that does look weird.
It does look weird because the fairing is 2.5 meters and all the parts connected to it are 1.25 meters. Because the stock solid rocket boosters are kind of weird.
It looks silly.
It always looks really big because whatever probe I'm launching is way bigger than most of the engines that exist in the game.
Oh, it doesn't look like it's stable.
It'll work. It'll hold together, baby.
All right.
It'll hold together. We just gotta get through the thickest part of the atmosphere.
Yeah, how it came through the atmosphere like that. That was lovely.
Yeah, actually, that's how an arrow moves.
Do you have
If you watch an arrow in slow motion, you'll see that it does this flexing thing as it leaves the bow.
Oh no, I have an allergy.
That is not a statement that was at all relevant to the thing I said.
Good. Now you know how like 90% of my commentary and comedy work.
And so there we go. Blow that away, and now we start with our engine and our little bitty thing. I accidentally started up the jet engine, which doesn't work because I don't have an air intake on this. And there's also no air in space, but there is an air in space museum.
Yes, not in space though.
Not in space.
In the air. I guess you could argue it is in space.
It is in a space. It does have a spatial coordinate.
Ooh.
So passing by on the night side now. Taking down that little thing, we're shooting ourselves out to Minmus.
Little Kerbs are on that planet looking up and seeing your rocket like a shooting star.
Yeah.
You're inspiring people.
They're watching the Bill Kerman space station go around every 30 minutes.
Homer Kerb Hickam Hick Kerb. Homer Hick Kerb.
I don't know what you're referencing.
Homer Hickam.
Homer Hickam?
Yeah. The Rocket Boy from the one thing in West Virginia that like made it out of West Virginia. Fucking what was it? Right. October Sky.
Yeah. Fun fact, October Sky is an anagram of Rocket Boys.
Yes.
Because that was the name of the original movie, and they didn't want to call the name of the original book, and they didn't want to call the movie Rocket Boys.
That's the name of the book.
I actually have that book. I haven't read it yet, though.
Can I just tell you, as a kid growing up in West Virginia, like, whenever the teacher's just like, it's gonna be an easy day, let's just watch a movie, like, 80% of the time it's gonna be fucking October Sky.
Yeah, and I saw the movie a long time ago. For some reason, I never put together that he worked in a coal mine with West Virginia, because I was like a kid when that movie.
Oh, he's just going down into a hole.
Well, I knew he was going into a coal mine. I just never associated coal mines in West Virginia. You can also see the ablation on Minmus is a lot.
Put a Band-Aid on it.
A lot lower. Well, it's not abrasion.
It's not as shiny as it used to be.
Yeah, it's not as reflective.
Is that like a mod issue, or is that like...
No, that's just how the mod changed.
Did the planet simmer down?
Yes.
The planet's out of its gaudy phase.
So there we go. We got so now we got to test the decoupler, which I've applied the engine to. Look at it fly.
No. Oh, okay, it's fine.
It's low Minmus gravity.
All right.
Check out that sunset.
Oh, look at the stars.
As we go back to the as we go back to the Space Center.
Oh, those aren't stars. That's dust on your computer screen. Never mind.
No, those are stars.
Oh.
These are stars.
Okay, yeah, no. Gotcha.
Sunrise, because I wanted to launch not late in the day.
Damn it, that's so cool.
So I'm turning off the global transponder fitting because I'm landing close enough to the space center. This is actually just costing me money. Since I always land close enough that I get all my money back, so I don't have to spend all that extra. I don't have to spend all that extra stuff.
Yeah, you're like a fucking pro at landing.
So now we're building a very small vehicle that has our power transceiver, our phased expandable power transceiver. You notice the engine I put on the bottom is different, and I also have a very tiny fuel tank. Because you remember the last time we set up our huge global power network. Okay. So now if I have these radiators and these little receivers here,
yes,
that is a plasma engine, which gets like a specific impulse of like 13,000 seconds, which is that's high.
Yes.
I get so much burn time. I get so much delta V out of this.
We're not talking about marijuana.
I never once said that we were. So we put that on, and now we this is actually the first vehicle that was supposed to use the Condor. So we're changing this around. We're removing the RCS. We're adding all of these. We're adding some extra fuel tanks because this thing's a little heavier than the previous thing. And now I gotta fight with it because it doesn't want to put this engine and these fuel tanks next to each other. But also I'm putting these fuel tanks on the side because this thing has landing gear on it. And these are a nice little place. If you remember from our other video where I made a thing that had landing gear.
Stable?
It's stable.
There's a big old notch.
There's a big old notch because the model doesn't want to. If I could control the model, I could make it so that it fits together better.
Get some of the.
And now I don't need launch clamps anymore, even.
Yeah.
Because it just starts on its little landing gear and it lifts up.
Nice. The thing in The Sims where you could like pull and tweak like aspects about your Sims.
Yeah.
Throw that in here.
There actually are some mods like that. I know there's a mod called Procedural Wings that adds one little wing that has little things that you can drag it out and make the wings whatever shape you want. I don't know if it's actually still around, but there's enough wings that function well enough, even if sometimes they look super weird.
Yeah.
So at this point we're starting to get to a very rote approach with these where I figured out the ascent profile on this well enough that I can get it into orbit.
Yeah, smooth sailing. Look at that.
Yeah, because it's not as long as my other rockets. Blow the fairing off because now we're leaving the atmosphere.
Because just fuck it though.
Just fuck.
Just.
And this thing has a lot of power in it because it's got a couple of batteries, and also the phase power transceiver starts with a lot of power in it by default. So now we just have to get out of the atmosphere. After the initial main engine cutoff, we wait until we get close in, and we start firing to circularize our orbit.
Sweet.
So I have already set up my regular global power network. What this is going to do is be a secondary global power network, which is going to go out beyond the orbit of the moon, out beyond the orbit of Minmus. So that way, no matter what side of what planet we're on, we're always receiving power from our nuclear reactors on Kerbal.
Awesome. Man, you're gonna be really like environmentally friendly this planet. You know, like all these power sources and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
all this free power.
Yeah.
This is going to be a new wave of energy.
What could these people have to possibly worry about?
What could they have to worry about aside from asteroids?
Yeah.
I need to build a new asteroid catcher.
Yeah.
We need a global asteroid defense team.
Ooh.
Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset. A little aside, I remember my cousin actually he's training to become, he's actually been in a couple of musicals. He's training to become a professional singer.
That's awesome.
And he actually sang Sunrise Sunset at his sister's wedding, which I was a part of.
Oh.
Well, which I was at. I wasn't being married to anybody.
Yeah, especially not your sister.
Yeah, that would, well, my cousin. Both of those are weird.
Yeah, cousin.
So we're catching a little gravity assist off of the moon, which actually is going to save us a little bit more fuel even. In fact, this thing has probably twice as much fuel as it actually needs. So now we're gonna fly way, way away from Kerbin. You can see the moon orbiting Kerbin off in the distance there.
Bye.
Kerbin is now in so we come to the point in our orbit where we want to be. Actually, we're gonna get to about 70K the animation's weird because it's currently the transceiver's currently on receive mode, and when it's not in a direction where it catches anything, it folds away.
I still think it's cool though. Like,
yeah, the animation just looks weird because it'll immediately catch the thing again, so it starts the animation for folding out, so it instantly folds away and then starts folding back out again. And so we have this little transceiver here, which we're now circularizing the orbit on that. So it's now 62 kilometers by 62 kilometers. We activate the relay point and point it at Kerbal. And now I'm going to skip the other 3 launches I do so that this network's complete. And then we're going to keep building this out even more. We're going to have a huge party. Everybody's going to be invited.
Awesome.
It's going to be, and the party this time is not going to be in my mouth.
Are you going to build a halo around Kerbal?
No, I'm not going to build a Dyson ring. I know some people have tried to do that in Kerbal Space Program, and it makes the game break because you can't. If you have a structure longer than 2.4 kilometers, the game freaks out.
Get on it, game designers.
Yeah, what's going on, game designers?
Oh my goodness.
What's the deal? Alright, so I'm going with, let's see. Oh yeah, experimental science. So I have this altimetry sensor. I also went with metamaterials, and oh yeah, I unlocked the space telescope, so I'm going to take on a bunch of contracts from Tarsier Space Technologies.
We can finally look at space now.
You can finally look at space, and I also am now going to start taking on contracts to put things on the moon.
Yeah.
We're going to eventually return there. Not this episode, but all the technologies are getting in place so that we can do it.
We've never done that before.
Definitely haven't done that. So there's our new space telescope, which is actually modeled on the design of the James Webb Space Telescope.
That's cool.
But it's very, very tiny, this one. In reality, you see all those little hexagons?
Yes.
Each of those are reflectors, and they're folded away, actually in the same way the James Webb Telescope is. But in reality, each of those reflectors are only slightly smaller than the singular huge mirror that's in the Hubble Space Telescope. And the James Webb Telescope has 16 of them.
That's impressive.
So this is the Donald Kerman Telescope Mark II, because the Mark I telescope exploded or something.
In another universe.
An angry god exploded or something. Formed the meat planet. And so I'm also outfitting this with a bunch of infernal robotics stuff. I have some action groups set up, or I have some control groups set up, because I have a Rototron on there, and I also have a powered hinge. And again, we're going with our super cheap solid rocket fuel launch vehicle, because that works pretty well. And this is actually an orbit that would be hard to recover the Condor from.
Yeah.
So we have two different things here. We have rotate and we have hinge, because the space telescope can't actually move itself. So we're going to put it on some motorized parts so that we can move it for free without having to just keep rotating the spacecraft.
Awesome. Cool.
So we're actually going to launch this into a polar orbit, which is again why I decided to use a disposable vehicle.
Hope it brings a scarf.
What?
Because it's a polar orbit. It's going to be cold.
Oh, it brings us. I thought you said, I hope it brings us Garf.
No, a scarf.
And I'm like, who's Garf?
A scarf and gloves and hats.
Right, yes.
Because that is the joke.
That's that. Okay, yeah. The other joke is that I can't hear things.
We're literally not even a foot apart from each other.
Yes, and now you know why I have trouble hearing people. So there we go. So now this booster is going to bring our orbit closer to 90 degrees.
Old man Matt Cap and building fucking robots in his backyard. Launching shit into space. I never paid him much mind.
What's he building in there? So yes. This is also a very different orbit than the James Webb Telescope, because I think we discussed it when I launched the first space telescope, but James Webb is, if you actually see the whole thing with the sun shield deployed, it looks like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And it's actually going to go, when it's launched in 2022 or something, it's going to go all the way out to Lagrange point 2.
Can you put a picture of it up there?
Yeah,
right in there.
It'll be here when I start talking about it.
Okay.
So it's going to go to Lagrange point 2, which is a point a million miles beyond the moon, but it's a point where n-body orbital dynamics work, because the gravity from the moon and the gravity from Earth and other planets will actually cause it to stay just behind the Earth all the time.
You should have named this thing the Dragonfly.
By the dragonfly.
Because it looks like a little dragonfly. Look at it.
Oh, yeah. And now we're going to watch the... you can see the aurora.
Wow, yeah.
Which goes around the north and the south of the planet.
So cool.
Goodbye, Kerbal.
See you.
We're going to be really, really far away from you for a while. Actually, this thing is going to be... This thing, I actually managed... I somehow accidentally launched it into about the same orbit as the moon, but 90 degrees apart.
Perfect.
Yeah, so hopefully it and the moon are always out of phase, or else this is going to have a very short lifespan. So we're turning the telescope around because our first mission is to take a picture of the sun.
Oh, sweet. Smile.
Smile, sun, sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me.
Extreme close-up. Oh, hey. Cha-ching. Oh, that's so pretty.
So there we go. We got to take a picture of the sun, and then we have to transmit the data home to get them points. So
someone just wanted a picture of their son for the office, you know? Like,
take a picture of the sun. Great picture.
I need pictures. Pictures of suns.
Parker, get in my office. And I tried to take a picture of Eve, and it's too far away for the game to recognize that anything's there.
Aw, it's right there.
You notice how the halo keeps messing up constantly? Because the game is only approximating where it is, so when I zoom in really close, you can tell all the weird things it does. So let's see. Oh, I think this is another transmitter. Yes, it is. This is finally going to complete. This is finally going to complete our work on the Bill Kerbal space station.
Oh, yeah?
Because remember, a couple episodes ago, we launched a giant fission reactor there and didn't really do a lot with it.
Yeah, wasn't it actually bigger than the actual station?
Yeah, it was. And then I had to launch an even bigger radiator to keep it from overheating the station. So we're finally going to do something that makes use of that.
Good. Excited about it.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the station right now?
Yes. Bob Kerman is on the station.
Cool. How long has he been there?
Since the space program restarted. So, like, I don't know, a couple weeks. He's the one who figured out that there were problems with the life support system. So we'll probably eventually launch more people up there to... keep him company and help him tend to the reactor. I feel like the station doesn't exactly need people aside from that big old fission reactor that's up there. We probably need somebody to take care of it.
And a deck of cards.
Yeah, a couple decks of cards. There's some snacks and games on there.
Build a space card tower. Which, now that I think about it, would either be really simple or really difficult.
Yeah, it would be really hard because all the cars are trying to move around inside the vehicle with regards to inertia.
But if you get them all to move, like, with the same inertia, then, like, your card tower would be perfect.
If you could assemble it fast enough, the card tower they could build the card tower forever. So again, launching this on the Condor, our solid, sturdy workhorse of a vehicle.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's getting a lot more done than aspartame because it can carry a bigger load and come back faster.
You built a nice rocket.
Yes. It's all because of the weird challenge videos I keep doing.
That's good though. Like, you got like good practice. You're making like. I think you're pretty good at this game, man.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's nice of you.
Oh no! Oh, okay. For a second. What? What shitty luck would that have been if I was just like, man, you're pretty good at this.
No, yeah, the vehicle was accelerating too fast when I decoupled the fairing.
I swear I don't watch these in advance.
Yeah, I go briefly edit them before we do this. But yeah, the vehicle survived. The fairings one of the fairings exploded. But that's fine because it's just a chunk of metal that was going to burn up in the atmosphere anyway.
Whatever.
So
we named it after my ex-girlfriend. Who was very also much a chunk of metal that was just going to burn up later anyway. So what are we doing?
So we're setting up a rendezvous with the Bill Kerbal space station because the plan is to dock this thing to it. We're also going to bring Condor back.
Good.
Bye.
The sun is just like, boop.
Goodbye, sun. So yeah, Condor's coming back in. It's gonna scream through the atmosphere in a fiery fiery, wonderful descent.
Yes, like some sort of angry bird.
Yes. And so we begin our protective spin. This originally was an accident when it happened, but I discovered that if it spins fast enough, it prevents all the parts from getting hot enough to burn up.
It's lovely, actually. Like a firework.
Yeah. It lets its colors burn.
There it is.
It makes them go, oh.
I don't actually know the lyrics to that song,
As it burns across the sky.
Thanks for picking that up for me.
Amanda, do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
I mean, like 9 times out of 10. Probably because my dad was a plastic bag, and I'd thank you to never bring it up again.
I had a weird childhood. I kept telling my dad to say supportive things, but all he ever said was... Alright, and so we come down on the beaches, about 100 kilometers from the Space Center. Could have been a little closer,
Whoa.
but we're okay.
The Earth was just suddenly there, or I should say the Kerbal.
Yes, the planet Kerbal.
The ground.
I wonder if they call their soil Kerbal instead of soft Earth.
Look at this soft Kerbal. But aren't the people okay? The people are Kerbals.
The people are Kerbals, and all of them have the surname Kerbal. And then, like always fucking happens, I have to do a docking during the night.
Plan ahead, or tape a flashlight on there or something.
Yeah, I usually do, and then I managed to dock it to this node, but it doesn't want to stick, so I have to take it to another node. I was gonna put it on the radiator, because it just is sticking way out there. But you know what? We'll just build the station out like a big old spindly spider thing.
Sweet, spider station.
So there we go, and expand, and now we have 2 different fission reactors that are transmitting power.
Nice. I wish I could see it better.
It's gonna go into the sun soon.
Yeah! Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, look at that big old thing.
It's so nice. I'd live on that. Except no, I'd be like really scared. I'm a big fraidy cat. Would you live in space?
You know, that is an interesting question, because I think I'd be fascinated to do it, but I'd have to. I think if I went through all of the training that astronauts went through, I'd have enough confidence in all of the technology.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to have like some sort of like mental preparation too, like see a psychiatrist.
Oh yeah,
or therapist.
I mean, astronauts go through a lot of training and a lot of screening. So this vehicle I'm building is going to be a big old space tug, which is going to be the first part of our whole new dynamic, because it's easier to build a big ol' efficient engine and just have things attached to it than it is to build a bunch of things with big engines.
Got it.
So we're lifting off again.
What?
This is becoming a recurring motif.
Well, yeah. This is the cool part about space. Sending a rocket into it.
Yes. Sending a rocket into it and sending it back successfully.
Putting your metal meat right through space's lovely open bosom.
Poetic.
Thank you.
Slip the surly bonds of this planet and drift off into that good night.
Yes.
Also, one thing you're going to notice is whenever I use the small plasma engines that I had mounted on this, because again, we have this whole huge power network set up that goes on both sides of the moon and Minmus. So this tug things are going to dock to it, and then it has 2 engines that it will use to then pull everything, like a big old tug engine, and it'll pull things into different orbits and save a lot of fuel because it has very, very efficient engines. And so one thing you're going to notice is these tiny engines, for some reason, they always have the thruster graphic on. That's a bug with hot rockets. With a couple of engines.
I see that. Look at that. That thing was just burning on.
Yeah, so those engines aren't actually active. It's just a bug with hot rockets for some reason.
Okay.
When the engines are actually firing, they actually produce a purple smoke and a purple flame.
Didn't we see that a little earlier in the video?
Yeah. All of the plasma thrusters make purple. It's a color of technology.
Is it purple or is it violet?
Well, violet is a deep blue color, as we discussed earlier.
Well, yeah, but in our understanding, indigo is actually that deeper blue color.
Yeah, but indigo is it's in the common parlance. In the common parlance, we could refer to this as a violet. even though but indigo is deep. It's specific indigo paint is a very, very deep color.
Yes. Blue. Usually.
So an interesting thing to note is that this is actually this kind of technology here of the idea of having a big engine and a big life support system that always stays in orbit.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually an idea that is being pioneered by NASA. In fact, Buzz Aldrin actually talked about a thing like this. But a little different one. This is referred to as this would be used in what is like a more direct burn, in that you have engines that accelerate very, very slowly over a period of time, but you can go to Mars really fast if you do that, because if you have a thing that's accelerating at like 1 millimeter per second squared, and it does that for like 3 months, by the end of that you're going really, really fast.
Yeah.
And then you just have to turn it around and have it slowly accelerate the other way, so you slow down. Yeah. And so there's actually a lot of plans to have a setup like this where you have a small manned craft that will land and take off that docks to a big craft that's full of life support and radiation shielding and ion engines and stuff like that.
Mancraft is my least favorite cheese brand.
And so we're bringing the Condor back in. We're bringing Condor back in again, although you do notice that, oh no. Oh no, we just lost the landing gear.
Oh no, you're gonna have to land that thing in the ocean, maybe?
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. We're gonna have to touch it down on its tail, although our spin is starting to destabilize a little bit.
No, it was so good. It was so good to us.
So
it was doing so well, though. No, Matt.
We're trying to slow it down.
Matt.
We're trying to slow it down. The turn axis is increasing, and the pressure ripped the vehicle apart.
Oh no! You didn't tell me there was gonna be a death in this video. You didn't tell me the dog dies at the end.
So our trajectory analysts are looking it over while we work on building a new launch vehicle. We're going to figure out how we get our boys into space again. As we design a better return trajectory.
That no. Sunrise, sunset.
Good night, Internet.